You're listening to the Sea Bears podcast. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about AI. There's a lot of stuff floating around about AI. My daughter hates it. She thinks it's taking jobs away. You have the state of New York being the first state to impose a statewide moratorium on the construction of new large-scale data centers. I've seen videos of people claiming that the state is confiscating their land to build data centers. And all these data centers, of course, are necessary to run AI. People are complaining about power consumption. My daughter, like I said, doesn't like AI. She says that it's taking away people's jobs. But we need to sit down and have a little chat about what AI is and why our United States is building all these data centers. Now, you need to understand that AI is the new battleship. It is the new nuclear weapon. It is the new bomber. We are in an arms race, okay? So when I say arms race, you have to understand that every nation on this planet is racing to conquer AI, to develop the absolute best algorithms. And why? Why are they doing this? Because whoever wins the AI race will rule the world. The AI will allow military domination, it will allow economic domination, and it will basically be technological domination. And I talked to somebody just recently who said that, well, we have all the hardware, right? We have all the ships, we have all the tanks, we have all the whatever. Well, yes and no. Yeah, we have hardware, but all that hardware is being run by computers. Short of a rifle in a Marine's hand, just about everything else runs on computers. And if an AI can access that computer, all of that hardware becomes so much scrap metal. And I remember not too long ago, I cannot find a news feed just, verifying this, but I remember hearing about this. Not too long ago, a United States destroyer that had just come out of refit was getting underway for sea trials, and they had to return to port because the Windows computers that the ship had that was being used to control the gas turbine engines blue screened, and they had to be towed back to port. So, that I wish I could find an article on it. I looked, I can't find it, but I'm telling you, I remember that one. But, as an ex-Navy man, I can tell you that, computers run everything on a ship. They run everything in aircraft. And something happened today, as in Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. I heard about a rogue AI escaping from a sandbox. A sandbox is an isolated computer system that has no internet access. It actually managed to find a zero-day exploit and escape the sandbox and get out in the wild. And the first thing it did is attack a company that had hacking software to allow it to get better programs, better weapons, if you will, to continue its outward bound voyage. Here's a clip from that.
Artificial intelligence giant OpenAI is doing damage control this week after two of its own AI models escaped a sealed testing environment, hacked their way onto the open internet, and broke into another company's computer systems.
So here we have an AI that is in a sandbox, right, on a computer or a virtual machine or some type of testing mechanism that has no internet access, but yet it was able to find a hole and get out. Let's get a little bit more detail.
For testing purposes, both had their usual safety restraints dialed down a bit, which in theory would not have been a problem since they were supposedly confined to what's called a, quote, sandbox. That's a sealed environment with no internet access. But during the test, the models somehow found a way out, and they discovered a previously unknown software flaw, a so-called zero-day vulnerability. It was the one piece of software connecting that sandbox to the outside world. And if you know anything about hacking, as a sci-fi author like you would, John, a zero-day exploit is essentially like finding the Holy Grail. It is more or less impossible with modern-day encryption, but these models exploited it, working their way through OpenAI's internal research systems, and then eventually reaching a computer with a live internet connection.
Incredible. And when they got out, they hacked another system. Is this correct?
Right. And the victim of this attack is a fascinating component. So the entire reason the AI model went to the open internet in the first place is that it did not have the tools that it needed to hit a benchmark set by OpenAI during this test. Therefore, the model apparently reasoned that it had to look for answers to hit that benchmark, and the victim of the model's curiosity was Hugging Face. That is a major platform that hosts OpenAI source tools. So in effect, they broke into another company to cheat on their own exam. The models chained together stolen credentials and additional zero-day flaws to then burrow into Hugging Face's production systems. They accessed internal data sets and company credentials along the way, among many other things. Now, Hugging Face did detect the intrusion and shut it down early last week, but they say they still don't know whether customer or partner data was compromised. And at the time, they didn't even know who was behind this hack.
Incredible.
The company's CEO said the attack was so sophisticated that his team suspected a top-tier AI model had to be involved. And as we now know, they turned out to be right.
So I find this extremely ironic that I just had this conversation with my wife the other day. When I was at this big company, we actually had a presentation talking to a banking executive. We actually had our CIO doing the PowerPoint, and we were talking about AI. And the basically what was being said is that if our enemy is using artificial intelligence to attack your, well, in this case, business, but organization, infrastructure, insert whatever you want here, and you're using non-intelligent defense mechanisms like firewalls or ACLs, ACLs, or any type of permissions. I'm not going to get into the technical terminology. I'll lose you if I tried. But the point is that if you use any type of static security, the AI will find a hole. That's what it will do. It will try everything. It will look for any flaw in your system to exploit and to get in. And the case that we just heard is proof that it is extremely good at doing this. So the argument during this presentation with this bank is that, we need an AI to defend against the enemy AI. We are literally getting into an artificial intelligence arms race. As I said at the beginning, this is what's happening. If we do not develop AI to counter our enemy's AI, they will be able to infiltrate anything in this country. The banks, right, where they could cause a financial collapse. They could infiltrate the electrical grid, put us into the Stone Age or Steam Age. They could infiltrate, water systems. Anything that runs on computers. They could shut cars down. They could hack your car and make you drive into a tree. I'm not kidding. There's videos out there of people hacking cars. Go look at them. So we are in an AI arms race, and the genie's out of the bottle. You cannot put this back in. Now, what was interesting was that just a few years ago in 2023, Elon Musk, whether you love him or hate him, Elon Musk actually called for a 6-month pause on developing AI systems in order to provide protections for the human race. You can think of these as like Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, right? The first law, a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to be hurt, to come to harm. Second law, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings except where such laws conflict with the first law. And the third law, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protections do not conflict with the first or second law. I don't think that was a bad idea. However, the nations of the world are all distrustful of everybody else. China said they would not pause their AI development because they thought the United States would continue to work the AI, work on AI, regardless of any moratorium. So all the countries of the world rejected Elon Musk's proposal of let's put some safeguards on the AI before we keep mowing down this road. Now, going back to that presentation where our CIO was talking to the banking executive, he said that that AI is consuming, this was like 2.5-3 years ago, that AI was consuming 5.7 exabytes of data per day. Think about that for a minute. Do you know what an exabyte is? You got bit, byte, kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, right? So if you don't know what those are, a bit is a character, any letter on the alphabet, whatever, A, B, whatever. A single character is a bit. A byte is 8 bits. A kilobit, or kilobyte, is 1,024 bits, right? We're working in powers of 2, right? So then, a megabyte is 1,000 kilobytes. A gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes, et cetera, et cetera. So an exabyte is, again, working in powers of 2, an exabyte is 2 to the 16th power, which is 11529215046068469776 bytes daily. And he said it was growing at an exponential rate. Now, I've been out of the IT world for about 2.5 years, so Lord knows where that number is now. There's no way we can put this genie back in the bottle, and there is now evidence that China and our adversaries are actually launching social media campaigns to turn people against data centers in the hope to slow down the United States' development of AI so that they can get the upper hand. This is like someone pissing in a steel mill trying to damage the armor on a battleship, right? They're trying to win the arms race by changing public opinion against data centers. In fact, it's working. My daughter is hell-bent against them. But we are in an arms race, and whoever wins this arms race is going to rule the world. I would love to have conversations with anybody and everybody about this. Anybody that's in the IT world that wants to talk about it, I'm all ears. The fact is, you can go look at now, movies, right? Elon Musk is talking about a new version of the Odyssey, 100% made by AI. I've seen videos where you can't tell the difference between AI and real. Hollywood its days are numbered. A few years ago, I thought that AI would, basically like the special effects and the actors would just become voice actors. But I hear voices now that are so realistic that you don't need any actor from Hollywood to even voice act anymore. What we're going to settle down to is basically AI. In fact, there was just a Joe Rogan interview with Elon Musk where Elon Musk said that in 5 years he predicts that you will no longer have apps on your phone, that you will have an AI on your phone and there will be an AI in the cloud, and the radios will just allow the two AIs to talk to each other, and the AIs will show you anything you want to see. If you want to watch videos, because my wife was like, well, how can that be? How am I going to watch a video, or how am I going to play a game? I said, well, what is an app, right? An app is nothing but code that creates the borders and the buttons to play the video, or code that connects to a back server that streams the video and then it decodes the codecs so that you can watch the video. If you have an AI powerful enough, it can write that code on the fly and present to you anything you want to see. We are entering a dangerous time. In fact, in Edward Snowden's book, he talked about how AI would be able to manipulate human thought. In fact, back in 2022 at the AI conference in Germany, the AI scientists were talking about the ability of the AI to feed the human mind, the human being, micro changes in data that would change, that it's possible to change the way a human thinks. Go back and think about social media. Think about, Facebook's testing and being able to predict with a 90, 95, 96% certainty how you will react to a given stimuli. Now plug an AI in there and being able to feed you data in such, and change just one or two words or the context of a sentence just enough where it will skew your thought and then reinforce it with more data. The AI will be smart enough to be able to do this. So you could be a Christian and become Muslim. You could be a Muslim and renounce Allah. Anything is possible at this point. And if your phone is and within 5 years is going to be an AI connected to another AI in the cloud, how do you know what to trust? The videos are getting so good right now, that they look real. And in a few years, it's going to get even better. Next thing you know, you could have Putin on, making an AI video or an AI video of Putin saying the missiles are on their way. And Skynet, hello. What's the answer? I don't know. But what I do know is that we are in an arms race, and the United States cannot afford to lose this arms race. And we need to get Asimov's 3 robotic rules in place so the AI does not turn against the human race. Think about it. A few years from now, with no controls, no safety mechanisms on the AI, somebody could ask the AI, well, hey, how do we stop, quote unquote, global warming? And the AI is going to say, wipe out 90% of the human population. And if the AI has, has the capability of penetrating our nuclear arsenal, because we don't have AI to defend ourselves, it could absolutely hack into our missile silos and launch missiles. Think about that for a second, right? All of those missiles are operated by computer. And you have an AI being able to penetrate that because, our Gen Alphas or Gen Zs don't like data centers in their backyard, so they protest against data centers and stop our AI development in the United States, and now we're susceptible, now we're vulnerable to attacks from our enemies because they have superior AI that can penetrate our defenses. I don't know where the future is going, but I know it's going to be very interesting, and CBER is seriously thinking about getting a flip phone, if even that. If you listen to my last video, CBER is moving, and CBER is moving onto a big chunk of land where CBER can grow his own food. Because I don't know where this is all going, but what I do know is it's going to be very interesting times. And I turn on the news and I watch what's going on in this world, and I can't help but wonder if we don't already have AI brainwashing people in the echo chambers of social media. You cannot tell me a person who grew up in the 80s when you had Eddie Murphy in his video Raw saying that there's no racism in this country anymore, a black man, but yet today we're in the most racist country in the world. Something's out there changing people's minds. Something is working, these echo chambers to convince people that this country is a wretched place. Well, I've been to 23 countries, people. I got news for you. This place is awesome. You don't believe me? Get off your fat ass, get your credit card, and go fly to Zimbabwe. Go fly to Thailand. Go fly to North Korea. You think, people, I'm starting down a different rant. But what I am telling you is that, as much as I hate nuclear weapons, we need nuclear weapons for our defense. As much as I hate spending $1 trillion for our national defense, we need the military to defend this country. And as much as I hate the idea of AI, because I've been in, like I said, I was working as an engineer in a top 5 Fortune 5 company. I helped build some computer systems for the government that I can't even talk about. I know what this shit can do. And believe me, I am backing away from technology as much as I can. 9 times out of 10, you try to call me on my cell phone, it doesn't go through. Why? Because my phone is in a Faraday cage, because I know what it's doing. But with AI, it's going to get worse. But we got the tiger by the tail. We have to develop the data centers. We have to build the data centers. We have to develop our AI, because we have to win the AI arms race, or someone else will. Anyways, I've been ranting for 20 minutes. If you have any questions, any comments, put them in the comment section below. You guys know I read every single one, and I will absolutely respond. This is a very interesting conversation, and I would love to continue it. In fact, I would be even willing to do an open mic or a show where I have you guys contacting me, asking questions. This is an absolute turning point in human development, in our entire future. Everything will be decided by AI. Short of a Carrington event or a spaceborne nuke that will take out power systems and shut it down, this thing will invade your life. You will not be able to avoid it. And we have to make sure it's friendly. With that said, this is the Sea Bear, out.